So, if you don't know, I recently, 2 weeks ago, lost my brother, and I've been having a really hard time with it. And I said when I started this channel, I really wanted to help people and somehow add value to people's lives. And as hard as this is for me, I know that I'm not alone, and I know that there's been many people who feel or have felt the way that I do right now, even though there are many, many, many times where I do feel like I'm completely alone. So, about 2 weeks ago, Halloween weekend, I was so stressed over the thought of going to work on Monday and quitting my job, the job that I had been at for 5 years, where I'm very comfortable and I very much love the patients. And it was not something that I ever expected that I would do, but it's something that the more I thought of it was the best decision for me. And I ended up getting this CBS on-demand subscription to binge watch Love Island so that I had something to distract my mind. So I woke up Monday and went to work thinking that was going to be the biggest struggle of the day, and little did I know that would end up being the worst day of my life. I was at work and I was grabbing a doctor to get an exam when I come around the corner and I see my dad walking into the office. And the second that I saw his face, I already knew that's what he was going to tell me, because I know he didn't have an appointment. So I went outside and talked to him, and he told me. And I instantly felt like I left my body. Like I was watching myself go through this, but it wasn't actually really happening. You know, it was just like I was in a dream. I was watching myself, but it wasn't real. And it was so crazy because I was literally just talking to the patient I just finished with about out-of-body experiences. And that's what it felt like. And the more we talked, the more it just ended up being like this big wave where it was just like, not real, not real, not real, not real. And then all of a sudden it hit me like a ton of bricks. And it was really hard to hear, even though I still didn't believe it. And even driving home, I could say it, but I didn't believe it. And when I got home that day, I remember just sitting on the couch and just like shaking. And it would come in waves. I'd have moments where I'm like bawling hysterically, and then moments where I'm just dozing off into space. I felt so empty and numb and just like mentally not stable at all. I didn't realize that I was doing this, but for 20, 30 minutes at a time, I would just doze off and stare at the wall and not even realize that I was doing it until my husband pointed it out to me. And when I tried to eat, that was really hard. I took one bite and I immediately started bawling. Everything that I did since I got home that day, I felt guilty for. The next morning, when I tried to wake up, I didn't leave the bed for I think 4 hours. It was really, really hard to get out of bed. And then I fed Larcy, took her outside, sat on the couch, and I don't think I got off the couch for 2 hours. It was really, really hard just to like try to keep living the normal life like nothing happened. Last week was such a blur. It was so busy, so many things to do and to go through, and I just wanted to be in his presence as much as possible, because in my mind I kept telling myself that, you know, he's just over there taking a nap, and, you know, it's not real, I'm not really here, this isn't really what's happening, and it's just a really, really long dream. I couldn't sleep. Every time I would wake up, I'd look over at my phone, he was still my background. And I just prayed and prayed and prayed. I'd close my eyes and pray, then I'd open my eyes and it wasn't real. But it didn't work. And while we were there, I kept squeezing my hands and closing my eyes and praying that I'd wake up and that it wasn't happening. I was in such a state of just straight desperation that I'm like, I was desperate just to like see his eyes blink, to see him twitch, just to see his chest raise. I would just stare at him waiting for something, just to give me some type of sign that it wasn't real. The first time that I saw him, that we got to go see him, I was convinced in my head that we were gonna go in there and it wasn't gonna be him, and it was just some awful mistake. But the second that I turned the corner, it just made everything real, because my wishes of that being a thing were gone. Even up to the last second, driving up to the cemetery, oh, I squeezed my hands so tight. So tight, I kept closing my eyes and just praying that this wasn't real, that this wasn't happening. I prayed so many times that I could just wake up. Even to the last second, I'm just praying, like, lift the lid, like, just lift the lid. Please lift the lid, like, move it, something. It's like been an emotional roller coaster. I have times where I feel like I can't function, like I can't breathe. Like my chest is just completely expanded. My body has just felt completely empty ever since. It's the strangest feeling. I just have like all over aches. My head feels like a bowling ball, and I just feel like a part of my heart is just gone. But at the same time, I know I feel that way because it is. And then this week comes and I feel almost like I'm in straight denial. Like I'm in straight denial that it's even real, and I'm just telling myself it didn't really happen. I don't know if that's my way of coping with it. I don't know if this is how it goes. It's just the process, but I'm in really, really, really strong denial about it. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, I'm just gonna be driving one day and he's just gonna be walking along the road. I'm gonna see him somewhere, or I'm gonna look at my phone and he's gonna be calling me. Like, I just keep telling myself that it's just not real, and that at some point that's gonna happen. And this is just a huge misunderstanding, and it's something that I would wish upon anyone ever. Something you never think that's gonna happen. But losing my grandmother and my brother 29 days apart in the same month. October went from being like one of the biggest months in our life. It's the month that we closed on our house, we moved into our house, and that our daughter Larcy was born. And who would have thought that last year when we moved into our house on Halloween, a year later, it would be the worst day of my life. And I go through a phase where you just have so much regret and so much what ifs, and you play every scenario, every conversation. I've reread every text message that I've had. just thinking of all the different things that I could have done and how possibly I could have made things different, and it drives yourself crazy. But it makes you really look at life in a different light and reminds you that life is really, really short and that nothing is promised. And I am committed to making him proud of me. And everything that I do, I sing a song to him every single morning. It's called One Life for the Two of Us by Louis Thompson. And if I mess up, which I do a lot because I get upset, I have to start it all over again. But we used to play that song a lot together. And for different reasons, but now all I think of is him and I. I learned a lot from him, and I've learned a lot from this experience. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be the best me that I can do in every decision that I make. I'm going to do it not because it just makes me proud, but I want him to be proud of me. And I want to live my life to the fullest. And if there's something in my life that I'm not completely happy with, I need to move on. So as hard as it is to have so many big life changes going on in my life right now, I know it's for the best, and I know it'll be worth it. And I know he's very proud of me. I don't really want to get a lot into this situation. I'm trying really hard to go back to normal and get back on my normal routine, but it's so hard to do that because I feel guilty. And I have no desire to do that. And just feeling empty leaves you exhausted. By the end of the day, I'm so mentally and emotionally and just physically exhausted that I just crash. And my motivation is just like zero. I have so many videos that I've pre-filmed and that are half edited that I just haven't had the heart to pick it back up. As much as it makes me happy, and I know he wants me to do what makes me happy, but I just have to do it when I'm ready, and I just need a little bit of a mental break. I just wanted to give a life update for everyone who didn't know and was wondering where I was. I quit my job, and I lost my brother the same day. And I'm in very much denial about that. But it's a big reminder that if you have someone in your life that you really love and care about, go see them, call them, answer their phone calls, answer their text, whatever you have going on that you were going to do instead of seeing them, just go do it. It can wait, because you never know when your last time is going to be your last time, and you never know when your last conversation is going to be your last conversation. So just be very mindful of what you say to people and how you say it and how you make them feel, because you never want to leave on bad terms. And even though we didn't leave on bad terms, I still wish I had more time. But nothing is guaranteed. So if you're going through something similar, just know you're not alone. And I appreciate everyone who's reached out to me. I've had people I've never even talked to in my life who've reached out to me, and it means so much. But I have text messages even from that day that I haven't even read yet, because I can only read so many at a time before I mentally can't handle it. And I'm trying really hard to feel somewhat like mentally stable. So I just have to do everything in really small doses. But yeah, I'll be back. I promise I'll be back. I gotta be back because I gotta do what makes me happy, and I have to make him proud. But I really appreciate the love and support, and that you guys are understanding. So go hug your loved ones. Tell them how much you love them. Tell them how much they mean to you. And just be nice to people, because you have no clue what someone is going through, and you have no idea why the way that they are. So Don't be judgmental. Always be kind. Bye, guys.